Hello and welcome back to the Canary Chat channel. We are doing a double upload today due to the reaction of the Norwich City versus Southampton game in the Carabao Cup. We've lost 3-0. Obviously it's late at night, so can't be too loud, can't be too annoyed at it. But yeah, let's kind of go through the game, player ratings, observations. We've also got some people's opinions as well that we've asked on X to see what are people feeling like at the moment with the current situation. So it's now 3 losses at home on the bounce, 3 very dismal displays and places. I think this one we were extremely sloppy, aimless in possession. There was no cutting edge. I think there was a lot of kind of push in the first 20-25 minutes with a lot of opportunities coming our way, and McCarthy making some very good saves. But away from that, it didn't feel like we were ever putting them under any sort of pressure. And as soon as that first goal went in, that was kind of the game done. Yeah, the odd thing was playing quite long took a bit scoring. McCamma came on, and then we start playing shorter. That didn't make any sense. I thought Southampton played a relatively strong game, but I do think it was mainly down to our mistakes that gave them the opportunities to kind of break us down, get those goals. It was very self-driven. Self-driven. It was all our own downfall why we lost this game. The goal coming when it did kind of nullify obviously the rest of the game. Third goal was an absolute screamer, so that's fair enough. We didn't close him down, we didn't get in his face to try and stop it, but it was an absolutely beautifully struck finish. But we should really be closing them down in those situations anyway, so that's another thing to be slightly frustrated about. The first goal, Fitzgoran, we tried to play out from the back, just played it to their player. Again, I don't think we closed down quick enough. It was a very, very nice finish, but I think it was Archer, but it was terrible. Like, we should not be giving the ball away in those areas, and if we do, we should be able to get a grip of the game straight away. And then the second one for Fraser, Crescene just completely mistimed the flight of the ball, and yeah, just bounced over, done, and that was game sorted. It never felt like when it was at 2-0 we were ever going to get back into the game. Southampton did look good in places. I think, as I said, after that 25-minute spell, they were comfortable, they were cruising. They didn't really need to get out of second or third gear to get a result. They could just wait for us to make a mistake and capitalise on that, really. Connor Southwell did a post on X which I think brilliantly summed it up. He said, yes, it's early in the season and that was a team with a lot of changes, but hard not to see many red flags in that Norwich City performance so far. Errors, lack of cohesion, aimless in possession. It's fixable, but they need to get going and get going fast. And I think that perfectly sums it up, is that these things can change, but I think it would be naive in places to think that this is all part of the process. I'm sure Liam Manning will be disappointed in what's happened so far. I'm sure Ben Napper would be disappointed in what's happened so far. And I think that's something that will have to change in the near future. Otherwise, question marks will start being had. I don't think anyone's questioning Liam Manning at this point in time. I think it's more the formation that he's persisting with, that 5 at the back. He did come out and say that actually the errors against Middlesbrough weren't formation driven, they're personnel driven, coming from errors from the way that we're kind of that player individually rather than the formation, and that creating holes or gaps for teams to exploit, which I do kind of get. But at the end of the day, you're still also picking the players that are out on the pitch. And yeah, the 5 at the back seems to be unanimously, from a fan's point of view, not working. Obviously, we're not in training, we're not the ones making those decisions, and it may be something that does turn and we'll all be in our hats. If that does happen, I'll be more than happy to say that I got it wrong, but I do think at this point in time, 5 at the back isn't necessarily the formation we should be playing, especially with the personnel we've got. I don't think it gets the best out of the likes of Wright and players like that. And yeah, it's just tricky at the moment. It's tricky to see what the turning point is if we persist with playing this formation. In regards to the actual team, there were a lot of changes. I believe there was 9. Grimshaw started. We had Fisher, McConville, Darling, Crescene as the 3 centre backs. Schlupp at left wing back, Topic and Gibbs as the 2 holding, Schwartau and Jurasek behind Fitzgoran. Yeah, there's a lot of changes. Darling and Topic were the only 2 that started the last league game. No Sargent on the bench, which yeah, is potentially contentious. Who knows? But yeah, it's a real tricky one at the moment to see what's going to happen. Player ratings, nearly everyone got 5s, apart from, I thought Grimshaw didn't look convincing. There was a lot of passes which actually hit defenders. Darling gave a 6. I think in the second half he was better than we was in the first half, and out of the defenders I think he was the best. Schlupp I thought was a 4, didn't seem overly interested. Schwartau I don't think overly really got into the game either, so gave a 4. I thought Crescene was having a semi-decent game until that error as well. I think from what you could see on X as well, people didn't mind him being left centre back, and people were saying that he could potentially start there in the league. But yeah, that error, it was just too easy. The decision needed to be made sooner, or the keeper needs to communicate with him sooner to decide whether to just commit to getting to it instead of kind of half committing and it just not working. So yeah, not very great ratings. No standout player in my opinion that I looked at and went, "Cool, yeah, you know what, you're the shining light in that situation." There were some early subs. McCammer came on. I thought he looked okay, but obviously only given a half. And then later on in the game, there were more changes. Cernat, McLean, I thought when they came on, they looked slightly brighter than the others, but unfortunately that wasn't too hard to shine in that team because it was that dismal. We asked for kind of people's opinions on X on what they thought of the games, and a few kind of close friends of the channel went to the game, kind of sent me a message around what they thought. One of them from Liam messaged and put, "I've just witnessed probably the worst Norwich City performance in the last 3 years. No creativity, no energy, effort, willingness to win the ball back. We had no width with Fisher, Gibbs, Jurasek. They didn't look fit, and they didn't look fit enough to wear the shirt. 3 at the back isn't working. When will he learn? It's not for us. 4-2-3-1 has to be our formation going forwards. And my biggest concern is why Sarge wasn't in the squad. Is he on the move?" A lot to unpack in that one. I don't think it was just Fisher and Gibbs and Jurasek that had a bad game. I think, yeah, nearly the whole squad could be included in that. 4-2-3-1 could work, but I just can't see Liam Manning scrapping 5 at the back now. He's doubled down on that it was personnel problems, not the formation in last week. So, and then the Sarge issue. Obviously, Sarge started against Watford only a couple of weeks ago in the Carabao Cup. He obviously scored as well. Wasn't included on the bench. Maybe that's us saying that we want to just protect him for the league. Hopefully, it's not that he's on the move. There's no rumours to say that he is. But considering he was starting basically every game, maybe it shouldn't be a surprise that we're giving him a rest and not overdoing it. And it could be that actually we started him in the Carabao Cup last game to try and keep him here, captain's armband, and that actually maybe we know that he's probably staying now and we want to rest him. We don't want to overwork him, so we have him for the rest of the season. That is hopefully my logic, and hopefully that is sound logic. There's plenty other kind of opinions, should I say. We'll get into a few more of those now. One says, I don't know where to start with this performance. Individual errors, a team unable to create chances, playing the ball across the back four on the halfway line, 3 defeats at home on the bounce, long hopeless ball punted upfield, different manager, same old problems. Again, I agree with a lot of that. Individual errors, we do look to seem to be lacking that creative spark, which is frustrating considering we have signed attacking players as well. And I do think Diallo and the players like that have shown what they can do. Obviously, he wasn't starting, he only came on for a little bit, but he would be kind of the player that we're now kind of relying on for that creative spark. Obviously, we had Sainz last year, who at the start of the season carried us a bit, but we suffered with that. I know we scored a lot of goals last year, but we still suffered with a creative spark. It was really kind of Sarge last year that was trying to pull us through, and then Sainz's purple patch that got us those goals. So we were missing the creative link last year, and we haven't plugged that gap as of yet. Someone says scrap the 3 at the back. As kind of I've said, I don't think that will happen. I think he's doubled down on it. I'd love to see us move to the formation of that 4-2-3-1. I think that could, even a 4-4-2 could work with Cernak and Sarge up top, Diallo on the left. Like that could work for us, but I just can't see him doubling down on the 3/5. He may change the middle bits, so whether we go like a 2-1-2 or as we're currently playing a 2-2-1 or a 5-3-2, who knows? But yeah, I can't see the 5 at the back changing. But absolute rubbish. 3 home games, 3 defeats is very worrying where this season is heading. Again, like I would like to think I'm not an overly reactionary Norwich fan, quite level-headed in these situations. As Carl Southwell said, though, there are red flags. We haven't been getting progressively better, or we haven't been able to see each performance has got marginally better. If anything, they're potentially getting marginally worse, which is the issue. And I don't know if the formation is going to magically sort that, but it does seem that potentially signings are needed. We're coming towards the end of deadline day. It's been alluded to that we're not going to do a lot more business, when actually, is this the kick now for more players to come in? Because for me, we definitely need a number 10. And then if Sarge goes, I still think we need a striker. Even if he doesn't go, maybe play Fitzgoran slightly deeper and get another striker to rival Sarge and have McCamera's third choice. That's also an option. But I think this could potentially now be the catalyst for some more transfers to strengthen the whole squad, not just that starting 11. One person's review of the game was just bored, which I completely understand unless you're a Southampton fan watching this, which, yeah, you'd absolutely be loving life. And then the final one was so slow in possession and transition. It's painful watching the moment, drastically lack width in attacking areas, making it all very narrow with no natural playmaker/flair player. A concern if we carry on as the way we are. So again, kind of all points that we've previously alluded to, these were all sent in within like a couple of minutes of putting the post up on X. So it shows people are kind of not too happy at the moment, which is completely understandable. Fingers crossed things do change. I believe it's Blackburn away now. And then the international break, that's going to be a tough game. Todd Cantwell's firing on all cylinders there. They're absolutely loving him. Captain at the moment as well. So could be a very tough game going there. But yeah, it does seem worrying that our home form, we could go and win at Blackburn because it's away from home, and we go through the weird phase of like nearly the reverse of like last year, where our away form was really good and our home form was terrible. Who knows? Hopefully that's not the case because we're season ticket holders. But yeah, a very maybe downbeat video, but I think it's important to give people a platform to express how they're feeling. And I think, yeah, it's not a great time at the moment. There's no need to get too dramatic with it, but I do think a few signings and a change of formation could be the catalyst for turning this home form around. But leave a comment down below on your thoughts on the game. And yeah, like we can always feature other comments later online, like maybe in the Blackburn pre-game build-up, we could always add some more comments in there. So yeah, leave a comment if you've enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.